Yellow, easy Jeezy again. We're going to continue with part 2 of my head video. And I'll tell you right now, if working on Volkswagen engines was as hard as learning how to use the software for Sony cameras, I think I'd be sitting in a bathtub playing with a rubber duck. Oh, the pain! Anyhow, on our last video we covered cleaning out a spark plug thread that was damaged from starting the spark plug wrong, and talked about sealing the cylinder, and I want to show you some spark plugs that came out of my last engine. I tried these NGK spark plugs that were highly recommended to me by the Volkswagen parts place that I bought this stuff from, and I didn't really want to put a Japanese plug in a German engine. That's what they used to say. Keep the German in the German and the we'll get one of each in here. You can do different things indexing spark plugs. You can use a thick washer. You can control the amount that you're torquing it down. Generally, as a rule, if you're working on that type of a program where it has to be that exact, you're a racer, and if you're doing quarter-mile racing and that type of thing, maybe you want to, it's not going to be in there that long. You're going to be looking at it. And look at this, I'm using a wrench. That other one's threaded in real easy by hand because I just cleaned it out. And this one isn't going as easy, and it's touching on that nut. Here's another little, I'm full of tricks, aren't I? If you want to have a trouble-free spark plug wrench, butcher one up like that. Just get your old 13/16. I don't remember what brand this was, probably oh, it says right on here, right. It doesn't matter. Find you a cheap spark plug at a flea market or something and cut the end off of it so that your spark plug just fits down far enough to get a hold of the nut. That'll save you some height and space. You get close to the intake manifold and the intake manifold nuts, just hold it up to the grinder. You know, I wish I had a lathe. Wasn't a very good one and I got rid of it. But some of those tools are pretty nice, but they do take up a lot of space in your garage if you have the room, fine. If you don't, well, that's another story. So, anyhow, here's the Japanese spark plug, the NGK on the left, and the Bosch on the right. And notice that Bosch spark plug, how it was burning. See how white that is? I don't know if you've been following my my videos, but the 2-liter on the initial test run, I hadn't driven it very far at all, and it seemed like it was snapping and popping. I'd done my initial startup and so forth, and I hope you guys are having fun watching me struggle today. I had a heck of a time getting down here in the garage, but you know, I got direct instructions from Darren that I had to come on here and push the R button, so I hope you're happy. I'm getting her done one way or the other. Hope I'm entertaining you while I'm doing it. And lost my train of thought. Guess I was talking about spark plugs. The 2-liter. It was running and it was not running good, and I thought it was carburetor jetting. And what happened is the clearance closed up on cylinders 3 and 4. The valve wasn't completely closing, and that's where I got this this real light colored thread. I mean, it was running lean for sure. Oop! I hope that's in there. That is a lean plug. That is not the way you want to run. I'm glad I caught it when I did. As opposed to, well, that was, maybe it was those two. Let me look. Okay, yeah. These two spark plugs came out of cylinders 3 and 4 that the valve lash went away. I couldn't turn the push rods with my fingers, but it ran. It was snapping and popping like it was a lean condition. These two spark plugs came out of 1 and 2, and they look a little bit better. That one's a little bright on that side, but we're talking very few miles, maybe, you know, half a tank of gas on this thing. I had assembled that with that block. It was a stroker block. I just whipped it into a 1776 because I could. Ran it for less than a week just because I could. And then I want to take it apart. I was more interested in that block, seeing how it all fit and everything. So what else we want to talk about on this thing? CC and heads. You guys have heard racers talk about, you know, if you watch VW Darren's, man, that guy's got some, he's got some experience under his belt. He was measuring his pistons, Molly pistons, like 4 grams off. 4 grams, that's hardly anything. But you'll notice on the way the engine runs, if you take the time and do that with all the rotating parts, your pistons and your connecting rods and your flywheel, and get everything balanced nice, it'll run so smooth, there's no comparison. But one of the things that you need to take into consideration when you're doing that is to make sure that your combustion chambers are equal as well. Depends on how anal you want to be, but I'll show you how to do it. I set away for this kit, and I don't know if you can see this other head is marked 52 cc's. This is from years ago. And what you do, you send away for those cc kits. Now this is a 90.5 head. I had an 85.5, a 92. I don't even remember who or where I ordered these things from. But you get a little plastic disc, and it fits snug. It just drops right in. You put your spark plug in the hole, you drop the plastic in, and when you buy the kit, then you set it up as level as you can, and it comes with this stupid thing. This is a syringe that measures in cc's, and this is what you get with it. And what I did on mine is I put automatic transmission fluid in, that red ATF Ford fluid. Got it right there on the line, got all the air out of it, and then what you do is you start pushing it down into that hole in the plastic top here and you'll see a little bubble come up. You can tilt your head around, you can move it and get that bubble to come to the hole, and it'll come out. And what you're trying to do is measure exactly how many cc's fits into that combustion chamber. Now, the heads that I worked on came out to be 62 cc's each. I was trying to lower the compression, and I was doing some performance things that I read in the book, how to hot rod Volkswagen engines. They were talking about where to relieve on the cylinder, and you have to be real careful that you don't get on the sealing surfaces over there, and you got to make, if you're going to remove metal, you want to make sure that you're removing them in the same spot, the same amount on each chamber. That's where you can get in trouble with your compression ratio. Now, I want to show you what happened to my syringe. I had used it for a long time. That thing, look at the difference. I got oil, this thing is like rotten. I'm not even sure that's the same syringe, but what happens is that rubber that's in there will just deteriorate. And I think I got like one head done, and I said, man, this sucks. I got to find a better way. And I heard about this fellow that had the glass, do you call it a barrette or something like that? It had all the graduations on it and was large, and it sat next to it, and you had a little valve, you could drip it in and had a little hole. It was so much nicer than using that syringe. This syringe is just a real pain in the neck, and I don't think you could use water. You need something. You could use vegetable oil, you could use, lightweight oil, whatever you got around. You're probably going to throw it away when you're done with it. So it's like whatever you got handy, but some kind of a fluid. Water's just too thin. But you put your spark plug in there, and you take. It's time consuming. You wonder why stuff costs so much. That racing caliber stuff Of course, now we have these CNC machines. It's all computerized, so there you put the program in and you set the head in place. It's going to be accurate. It's going to whip those babies right out. So, you know, that's the difference between 1970 and today. But anyhow, just so you can see how we used to do it old school, and I'll probably continue doing it that way. I don't know. You know, when somebody prepares food, doesn't that sandwich taste much better that your wife or your girlfriend or your mom made, that they made it in that same old pot with their hands and they touched it and they added the little seasonings? I mean, you can order a hamburger from McDonald's, but the hamburger that you fix at home that's made with love, it just tastes better, and I think it's better for you. And to me, when you're building an engine like this, it's a labor of love. You put a little bit of yourself in there. If you're going to spend that much time on it and you really want it to work right and perform right, to me, this is love. This is fun. And sharing it with you guys so that you can experience that is what this channel is all about. I just want you guys to see what you can do. And I mean, it doesn't take a lot of money. If these are the things that you want to get involved in, and on the cheap, you can make your engine run better than the next guy's. And it doesn't hurt to pull them apart now and then and just check out the overall condition of them. There's just not many gaskets. It's not like a water pumper. This thing just, you know, all engines are basically compressors. They're just pumping air. And if you can get these valves and the ports and everything tuned up right, it just it will be more efficient, run better, make more power. And while we've got this baby up, I'm going to show you real quick this little tool I bought a long time ago. You can get these fairly cheap. Do this right. It's got a couple of pieces that goes underneath the valve to hold the valve up, and you start knocking your stuff on the floor. Here's my flywheel timing ring, and let's see if I can have a little bit less trouble than I did the last time. Readjust my handle. I don't know why it's on that. Oh, I was using those extra stiff springs on that singles on my last build, and had to change the angle of the dangle. Here we go. Struggle! It's not suitable for YouTube unless you're struggling and in pain. Alright, we got her on there. Now, it's just this simple. You pop it down, you grab your little magnet, and you pull those, you pull the keeper off, and it just comes right out. Oh, struggle, struggle. Come on, baby. Watch your face. Always, when you're dealing with anything with pressure, compressed air, springs, always wear eye protection. Be careful. But also remember too, if you do bleed, it'll probably turn out a little bit better. And always get a couple drops of blood on whatever it is that you're working on. So your spring comes off right off the bat. And you'll see on any heads that I build, I used to buy these things 100 at a time. They're little washers. They're little flat washers. These look like rocker shaft washers, but it's the same darn thing. These are not my valve spring washers. These are my rocker shaft washers. But same principle. You buy these washers and you can put them underneath the spring, because your spring will vibrate and it will turn and it will chew up a little bit. The edge of the spring will chew up a little bit of the cylinder head over time. And you put that steel washer underneath there and it will prevent that from happening. And I usually like to put 2 or 3. And you would be amazed. I usually use my drill press, and I take a bathroom scale, I lay it on the base, I put my spring on top of it, I adjust the height of my chuck to give me the same compression that I would when it's installed on the head, and when the cam, depending on the cam that I'm using, when it pushes down. You always need to check for coil bind. If you're using a performance cam, make sure that that's not compressing. we'll talk about that in the next one. But it just a few thousandths, you know, 20 thousandths, 40 thousandths makes a lot of pounds pressure difference in your spring pressure. And any spring pressure that, in my opinion, that you can add to a Volkswagen engine just makes it, it gives you more RPM. One thing that is negative on it though, it will eat the, it'll eat the little clips on your rocker shafts. You got those little wave washers and spring washers that go on your rocker shafts. If you do much more than a stock spring on a stock engine, it will wear those spring clips out, and you'll find them laying in your valve cover, or worst case scenario, they'll go down into your engine through the valve pushrod tube. So you want to be careful with that, but you know, I always like to have a little bit more spring pressure and the availability of RPM, and knowing that my valve is tracking the cam profile. So I always shim up. You'll hear that term and see it. You'll shim up your valve springs, and it gives you more pressure with the stock spring. If you buy performance stock single springs, that does the same thing, and that'd even be more reason, as far as I'm concerned, to put those washers underneath it so that it can turn and not chew up your head, because you're just putting more pressure on it. So anyhow, let me take this in and start loading it up, and we'll start a new video for part 3. So if you missed out on part 1 and need a laugh, go for it. And hope you enjoyed this one, and thanks for all your views.